Okay, groups to network with. When I like to think of it, I like to think of it as like local and then not local. So not local is mostly going to be Facebook groups or people from your grad school or your training programs that have moved away, colleagues and acquaintances, social media. So those are typically going to be like clinical. But depending on if you can work with people all over the world versus just in your state, of course, that will kind of decipher how much not local networking you do. But yeah, getting your name out there to treatment centers or whatever it might be. So a lot of the networking stuff is going to be dictated based off of your niche. And so what type of people you work with and where they're already at before they come to you. So thinking of it as like local and not local. So the local, I like to think of it as like community groups, influencers, clinical, and then like just general other wellness professionals. So in Louisville, there's a lot of community groups that are not clinical at all, but they have people in them, and those people need wellness services or therapy. So thinking of groups like, YPAL, the Chamber of Commerce, networking after work, lots of other networking groups around town, like Louisville Urban League, run clubs, different gyms, committees through like your kid's school, maybe, just networking with all different types of professionals and people, because we all know when someone's in need of a therapist or other health professional, they typically turn to their friends and their family. And so if I'm at a networking event, I meet someone who's in marketing at Humana, but their little sister comes to them and says, hey, I need a therapist. They might think, oh, I don't have a therapist, but I met Shannon. She's a therapist at our networking event, and she was really cool. I'm going to reach out to her and see if she can help my sister find a therapist. I might be a good fit for the sister. Or I might just know someone in my network who would be a good fit, or I could connect them with Mental Health Lou and they would connect them with a provider. So just kind of like, again, thinking of that as like creating that network around you and creating that network around other people of health and wellness professionals, so we can help people find providers. And of course, hopefully some of those providers would be ourselves. And then other people that you want to think of that I've labeled like influencers, not like the influencers we think about on Instagram, but these are influencers in our clients' lives. So our future clients are already in contact with other people. So who already has contact with our clients? Maybe it's their PCP, maybe it's a gym, maybe it's a religious group, maybe it's a massage therapist, maybe it's an attorney because they're getting a divorce. I don't know. Depending on your specific client and their kind of like set of concerns that they typically come to you with, where are they right before they find themselves in your office? For me, typically it's going to be a PCP. My clients are very logical. My clients feel like something is wrong with them. They might be having physical symptoms because of their anxiety or their other like kind of struggles. And so they're seeking out blood work and other tests and different things like that. So I've made it known to like my PCP and some other PCPs that refer to me like, hey, I have spots for new clients. These are the type of clients I work best with, so forth. So take your time to kind of like think through your niched ideal client and where they hang out and where they work and where they shop, and then try to kind of insert yourself in those spaces. And thinking about it too, of where your clients are before they start therapy, not while they're in therapy or after they have therapy. So thinking of it too, of like if you're having a lot of aches and pains and physical symptoms from mental and emotional pain, sometimes people go to physical therapy, sometimes people go to massage therapy, and those other wellness professionals are really great to reach out to too. So prescribers, psychiatrists, massage therapists, any energy work providers, people who do essential oil work, sound healing, life coaches, caseworker, like fill in the blank with other wellness professional. Those are also really good people to have in your network and to kind of reach out to and connect with. And then the other thing that I think is really important too is networking with other same providers. So if I'm a therapist, I'm networking with other therapists, and I'm networking with them regardless if we see the same clients or not. So I work with a lot of men who maybe have a kid or two under 5, and they're really struggling and they're having a hard time adjusting. So I might network with therapists who work with couples, therapists who work with women struggling with postpartum struggles, and just putting myself out there to those providers of, hey, this is who I work with. This is, how our work typically looks. And then when they're working with that partner or they're working with that couple system, then they've got my name as a referral source. Also good to work with people that work with the same people you work with, because sometimes those people get full and they have a wait list, and instead of keeping a wait list, they would rather refer out to a trusted professional who works in a similar way or with the similar population. So thinking of it not as like competition because we're working with the same people, but more so, again, like this community. And typically I just like do networking chats with all these people. Maybe there's a formal networking event if you're in one of those community groups, but sometimes it's just reaching out and going to the networking event, reaching out and grabbing coffee, doing a virtual meet and greet, maybe going on a walk, maybe just emailing back and forth. You could also do like a consult group or accountability group with like-minded people. So there's lots of different options on like how to network within these groups. And then personally for me, the not local networking that I do is mostly through like the Facebook groups or through people in my grad school that have moved away. I don't honestly do a ton of not local networking because my caseload is small. I work with people only in Kentucky, and people that live in Louisville or the surrounding areas can fill my caseload. So I don't do a ton of not local networking, but for people who maybe hold licenses in different states or can see people like nationwide or worldwide, not local networking is definitely like very beneficial, because again, if you can get clients everywhere, then it's good to put your name out there in different, networking groups, Facebook groups, those more like national pages like Therapists in Private Practice or Therapreneurs or Online Therapist Group. And also to, if you work with substance use, and you can see people virtually in Kentucky, it might be beneficial to work out to, to some of those treatment centers that aren't directly around the, Louisville, Kentuckiana area. So just kind of thinking outside of the box, but also not overwhelming yourself. So taking it in small chunks. So typically people like to start networking with the same type of provider they are. So if you're a massage therapist, typically we start networking with other massage therapists. And if we're, couples therapists, we start networking with other couples therapists. And that's great. I think that's a good way to kind of get yourself in the groove of normalizing, talking to other people and getting over some of those nerves, and then kind of branching out to maybe one of those larger community groups or, a different wellness professional or something like that. But yeah, I like kind of thinking of it as those groups, so then we don't just get stuck in the patterns of like networking with the same people over and over again and not seeing results, and then we're like, networking doesn't work. So yeah, questions or anything like that, just let me know.